All right, welcome back, guys. Um, so in the last episode, what we did was we got some ores generating in our terrain. So it looks pretty good so far. We're slowly getting there. And today we're gonna finish this off, tidy up a bit, and fix a couple issues that that arised afterwards. So the other thing I want to implement today is having alternate tiles. So for example, this sprite could either be this one or it could be this one. It just, if you guys have this sprite, you might as well implement it. It gives it a little bit more detail on the terrain. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well today. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is let's create a C# script, and we're going to call this all class. So what we're going to do in the first bit of these episode, we're going to just tidy up this inspector a little bit. We're going to put these into their own sort of classes. So, and the other thing we have to implement is the generation heights for each ore, so they don't just generate near the surface, because that's not what we want. So let's open all class. There we go. We don't need these. Don't need this, that's fine, and it's not going to be a mono behavior either. This is its own class. Right, so each all class needs a couple variables. We need let's go back to terrain. We need the rarity, the size, and the spread, the texture. So let's say public float rarity, public float size, public float, public texture 2D, spread texture. Cool. And the other thing we want is the public int max spawn height. So for example, it's 10, it can only spawn below y10. So that's that. And I think, so now in here, we have to, underneath all settings, I'll say a public all class array, and we're going to call this ores. Right, so now I'm going to comment this out for now, just like that. So that what I did then was Control Shift and then the / that just allows us to comment larger bits like this out, if you didn't know that. And if we go back to our inspector now, you'll see nothing actually happens except we'll see these disappear. So, oh, we've got an errors. Gold spread is, right, yes. My bad, we can't comment this out because I'll break the code and not let it compile. Let's give it another go. There we go, and here, and then these should disappear. Did it work? I don't know. Oh no, right, okay, yes. Makes sense. So the reason this isn't showing up is because we have to make our all class serializable. So is it system.serializable or serialize field? Try both and see which one works. There we go. All right, so now what we can do is we can create this. And this is going to be one ore. The other thing I want to do actually on this is have a public string. You make sure this string is the first variable in the list. I'm going to call this name. The benefit of doing that now is, once it compiles, here I can say col, and you can see element 0 changes to col, and then we can close this drop down and add our next one, and then etc. So what I'm going to do is copy these values from here into here. So col is fine, rarity is going to be 0.1, size is going to be 0.8, max spawn height we don't have yet, so that's fine. Let's close that. Next one is going to be iron. Rarity is 0.01, 0.09. Iron size is 0.8, that's fine. And then we don't have the texture yet, that's also fine. Then we have gold. If I can spell gold, rarity is 0.2, size is 0.9. So these values are not correct either at the moment, but we can play around with those later. That's fine. And then diamond rarity is 0.8. It's definitely not right. And size is 0.93. Okay. And now we can close our ores as well and see how much cleaner our inspector looks just instantly. So the other thing we have to do now is make it so these updates, sorry, this updates when these are changed. So how are we gonna do that? Because I want to get rid of all these values. So let's comment these out again. Same way, Control Shift // We're gonna get a bunch of errors, right? And it's gonna be down here. When we say coal spread, we need to get that element. So coal is our 0 elements in the array, as you can see. And then iron is 1, and etc. So 0, 1, 2, 3. And that's the ones we have to refer to. So we're going to say all classes, ores 0 dot spread texture. And then iron is going to be ores 1 dot spread texture. So let's see how we can do this. If I do that way, copy paste that, that's perfect. Change that to 1. Change this to 2. Change this to 3. Cool. That's going to fix those errors. And then here, this is going to be ores 0 dot rarity. Ores 1 dot rarity. And I think you guys are getting the idea. It is a bit laborious, but this is going to make our life easier in the long run. Change this to size. Change this to size as well. So this is going to be 2 dot size. It's going to be 1 dot size. And then, of course, 0 dot size. And then same here. We're going to say, let's just copy paste it from here. Dot spread texture. There we go. There we go. There we go. And there we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And then let's copy this from down here and we'll paste it onto this. Cool. And now I have to say copy this and replace it with this, 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 and this. Change these to 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're still getting errors over here. So let's copy paste this into here, save ourselves some time. Right. Now, if all goes well, which it didn't, we should get errors, I believe. Yes, okay, we did get errors. Now, what's it saying? On validate is not working. Okay. If I make this serialized field, then what happens? Disappears. Okay, system.serializable again. It's probably going to get rid of all our values, isn't it? Yes, okay, but that's fine. We can write new values, but we're going to write new values anyway. But the biggest issue is now why this is not working. So if equals null. Right, let's make this null. Okay. So coal. right? So what it is because the cave noise texture is not null. So realistically, we should be checking each of these one by one. But the other thing as well, we might not even need to check this. So shift tab as well, by the way, to move something back rather than forward. So let's make it so we don't check this. Let's just create a new texture regardless. And that might fix our issue. Did it fix our issue? We still got errors, but okay, so that's broken still. Okay, so index was out of bounds in the array. Where? Right, so we need to make sure we have 4 elements. Otherwise it won't work as well. Okay, so that seems to be doing stuff. There we go. All right, so now that's working. Fantastic. But unfortunately, it says we have the code we've written so far means we have to have 4 elements in the array because we're checking each of these one by one. Which in most cases we will. You will have definitely more than 4. If you guys want, I can come up with a solution for this in the next episode. But for now, I might just leave it just so we can move on to the next bit, which is to give some alternate textures to the sprites. So what I'm going to do real quick though is just give these values back properly. Iron, gold, and diamond. Max spawn height, I'm going to say 10 for diamond. I'll say, let's say maybe 20 for gold. And then max spawn height will be 50. And for this one, I'll say 30. Alright guys, so I did cut ahead a little bit. I was just messing with these values. But I think I've got kind of the numbers I want. So feel free to just copy these from the site into your own project. So we're getting some nicer generation. The blobs are too massive. There's a nice variation between their sizes at least. Apart from that, we are getting all the ores. The issue is though, I can't see any diamond. I've generated a couple times and I haven't seen any diamonds. But that isn't to do with the numbers, it's to do with our code. Because what we're saying here is if there's coal, generate coal. If there's not coal, then generate iron. If there's not iron and coal, then generate gold. If there's not all of these, then generate diamond. So basically, diamond is even more rare because the others are overwriting it. What we should do is get rid of these else's. And then say if none of these are true, then generate stone. But for now, I'm gonna do this. Just leave it as that and then see what this does. So we should just get stone. Yes, because diamond is super rare, and if there's no diamond, then generate stone. So that's fine. But what we should do, oh, my bad, you want to generate the stone first, and then, so we're going to set it to stone, and then we're going to go through, and these each are going to overwrite each other. So diamond is going to overwrite gold, which is going to overwrite the iron, which is going to overwrite coal, which is going to overwrite stone. So now let's give that a go. If it compiles. There we go. Play, and fingers crossed that it looks nicer. There we go, and yes. So it seems to have worked. But still not much coal, sorry, diamond or gold. So that's weird. Maybe I have to increase the frequency a little bit. to 0.6, and then we'll decrease the size to maybe 0.8, 0.85 maybe. What does that do? Yes, now we're getting gold. That's perfect, and it's quite rare, which is nice. Coal is obviously the most prominent. There's a lot of iron generating still, and diamond there's barely anything of, which is also good. And I want to say here, I want to do let's see. Rarity will increase, maybe. Yeah, increase the rare. Yes, kind of. Okay, yes, that is too big now, so we have to decrease the size. Oh, sorry, increase the size. So our variables are kind of backwards, which is a bit weird, but they still work as well, which I guess is good. There we go. So now we're getting diamonds. They're generating in bigger blobs than coal still, funnily enough. So maybe I have to increase this. Decrease that. Because as you increase the rarity is more as the frequency. It's easier to think about. So you'll get more frequent diamonds in smaller blobs automatically. And then you just want to mask it with some of the size. So then you increase the size to maybe 0.84, let's say, which will make that smaller. Same with the gold, let's increase the frequency of that. There we go. And you can see how it sort of works with the diamond and overwriting it there. But since the frequency of diamond, I think, is the same as iron, yes, they're generating the same. So you need to give them all different frequencies. So let's give this 0.9 maybe. We'll give it 0.7. Okay, we get some there. I might just leave it as that for now, just so we can move on again. So I know I did say I got the values, but I guess I didn't. But yeah, we might just leave it there for now. Like I said, play around with this until you get to then where you want for your game. But I might just leave them as this for the purpose of the tutorial. Now that's all good. The other thing we were going to implement was their heights. So we have to say if it's if it's greater than 0.5 and ors 0 and y is less than ors 0 dot max spawn height. And that should work. So if I copy that, paste that, and paste that. Make sure you change these from zeros to 0, 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And it might be a bit hard to see if this works or not, but basically what should happen, we should just get ores being cut off. So as you can see, we're not getting any iron up here, which is a good sign. We're also not getting anything else up here. Let's run that again. So anything we're getting up there is coal. Not sure if that worked properly. I think maybe the spawn height might be a bit too much. Make this 20 and see if that works, or at least does something. Yes, so as you can see, there's a pretty straight cutoff here, so you can tell that that's when it gets cut off. So that might be good for iron, but we might also want to make it so that it depends on the height of that section of terrain as well, rather than the base height. Just so it's not saying, all right, beneath this line, for example, that above this line, sorry, there can't be anything. It would be sort of a bit more dependent on the thickness of the terrain at that spot, which means we're going to say height. So we're going to get the max height of that section of the terrain. And that's going to be height minus, I think it would be y. Height minus y. Or we could even say if that is less than height. Yes, that's probably a better way to say it. If max, no. If height minus y is less than or spawn height. So if height of our terrain there is 50, minus it'd be 50. That's not right. Okay, so we would have to invert those values. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So this is going to be, yep, like I said, height automatically does it for me now. That's cool. So how far away from the top layer of terrain do we want coal? Let's say maybe 5 blocks away. Iron can be maybe 10 blocks away. Gold, we can say 30 blocks away from the topsoil, and then we'll say diamond. You know what? I might change this to 25, and then I'll change this to 30. So this should work a little bit smoother than just cutting it off, or it might not work at all. Okay. You weren't supposed to do that. Interesting. And height minus terrain is minus y. What's our y? Alright, I might cut it here and I'll be back once I've worked this out, guys. Alright, guys, so the only change I had to do was to turn these from less than signs to greater than signs. So what that does, it's easier to visualize if I change this to 0.5 and I change this to 0.5, seeing as those are quite rare. You'll see what happened is this. So we don't get gold above this sort of line, and diamond generates below that sort of thing, which is correct because it follows this sort of pattern of the terrain as well. So it depends on the thickness of the terrain there. The other thing I did was increase the height addition. It used to be 25. I made it 50 to make the terrain a little bit higher. Just because terrain should not be cut off there. I wanted to visualize the whole thing. Anyway, that's just me rambling. Playing around with the values, the heights, etc. Get them where you want to have them. But what I think I am going to do now is turn these into sliders to make it more visually appealing for you guys. So string is fine. Float rarity, this should have a range of 0 to 1. Size should also have a range of 0 to 1. And then maximum height can stay that way. So if I change this back now, there we go. So now it's just sliders. Anyway, that's that. So part 2 of the things we had to do today was edit our tile class. So instead of tile sprite, I wanted to do a public sprite array, and there's going to be tile sprite. Comment that out. Put a semicolon there. Underneath terrain generation, we're going to get a huge amount of errors. So what you have to do is every time you generate a tile sprite, what I'm going to do is change this here, this sprite. I'm going to change this to sprite array. Tile sprite equals stone.tilesprites, and then just add the s to all of these. So I'm throwing, changing this whole, rather than passing one sprite in, I'm just passing multiple. And is that going to work for me? This log.tilesprites. So why is that still giving me errors? Place tile sprites. Interesting. Oh, right. Yes, this should be called tile sprites there. Yep. Just copy paste this. These errors are quite easy to fix. They're usually just spelling mistakes. Right, so these are going to give me errors still. That's fine, because the issue there is here. I want to take in a sprite array called tile sprites. Change this to tile sprites. Change this to tile sprites. Why is this? Can I expect sprite array to sprite? Yes. So that's this line is what we're going to fix. Tile sprites, and I'll just get the first one dot name. That's fine there. Here I'm going to pass in tile sprites. Add the S to all of these. That's fine there. And that's fine. So now we just have to fix this line here, because we can't set the sprite of that to multiple sprites. We're going to say int sprite index equals random dot range between 0 and tile sprites dot length. And then I'm going to say, add the semicolon there, of course. I'm going to say tile sprites sprite index. Cool. Now, if I go back into Unity, our tile sprites are going to break for a little bit in our tile classes. So you can see here, tile sprites, you just need to set the sprites to these. So for example, I want coal to have 2 possible variants. So that's this one. And also, where's our other coal? This one. Diamond as well. I want it to have stone diamond here, and also stone. Better if I do this stone diamond alternate. Dirt. I think it has 2 possibles as well. So I'll set it to this one, and I'll also do. Where's my rocky one? There. It's not too big of a deal, but seeing as we're having possible variants, we might as well. Gold, I think, has 2 variants as well. Let's see, where is gold? Where is gold? Where is gold? Excuse me, gold, stone gold, and then stone gold alternates. There. Grass only has the 1. That's fine. Iron has 2. And if you want to, you can use the green iron as well. So you can add as many variants as you want. That's up to you. But I'm not going to add the green ones because I think it's just going to make it look like it's different ore in the game itself. So, say leaves transparent. Log is going to be trunk, I think it was called. Trunk side. Is that the one? Yes. Cool. And then stone, I think that only has the 1 variant, but I'll double check now. You could maybe use this one as well if you want to, or greystone. I don't know. Depends on the sprites you're using, of course. I might just chuck it in there. The alternate stone, which is this one. And we'll just see how it looks, because why not? We can always get rid of them anyway. Let's generate it, and as you can see now, we're getting multiple different variants, and our terrain just looks a bit more, I guess, detailed is a better word. I'm not really liking this texture here. But I kind of want to leave it as well, because the other thing you have to think about in the game, this is all you're going to see. You're not going to really see this huge mess. But you know what? I'll leave it for now. It looks alright. But yeah, the last thing I want to add today was to create the tall grass. So I'm going to duplicate this. There we go. Call this tall grass. This is going to be called tall grass. This is going to have a couple variants. Let's find the grass variants here. So it's going to be this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. And you know what? We can even add the mushroom here as well. Where is the mushroom? I know I had a mushroom spot here. There we go. I'll add that one. Or you can add these mushrooms as separate sprites as well if you really wanted to. But I'm just gonna, as a separate tile class, I mean. Just gonna do that. And then when we generate a tree, we also want to have the, and then, so we're going to create a new variable that we can edit up here. So under new header, in fact, let's say header, we'll say grass, let's say add-ons. That's a better word. And then here we have public int tall grass chance, and we'll set this to 10 as well for now. Cool. And then back where we generate the trees, we want to say if t equals 1, generate a tree. Otherwise, we want to calculate a new int. We'll say I. We can't use I. We've used that before. Have we used? No, we haven't. Let's use I. Equals random dot range between let's say 0 and tall grass chance. Cool. And then this is where it's gonna generate grass. This is very similar to this. Copy paste that, and it's gonna say if it contains a block below it again, that's what we have to change. We have to say place tile x, y plus 1. Tile sprites are right. So in our tile atlas, we have to create another tile class, obviously. So we have to add public tile class tall grass. Cool. And then here we say tall grass dot tile atlas dot tall grass. Where's my tile atlas? This one. Tile atlas dot tall grass dot sprites. Tile sprites, is that right? Yes. Yes. All right. I mean, let's play it and see how it goes. We also have to add the position, so it's going to be x and then y plus 1. Okay, so let's open up our tile atlas. Lock it to the window, of course, again. Open this, drag and drop tall grass there. Cool. And now, if I press run, we should theoretically get lots and lots of add-ons onto the terrain itself. That's fine. Don't really like the mushrooms. There's too many. So I'm gonna let's unpin that, open up our tile classes, open up tall grass, and I'm just gonna get rid of this one. I'll get rid of this one as well. We'll keep the red mushrooms only for now. So let's change this to 5. Yes, cool. And then here I also want to increase the tall grass chance to maybe 30. So that way we're not getting a add-on on every block of grass on the terrain. It's a bit much. So we should still get some empty tiles, I believe, or not. No, still no empty tiles. If right, yeah, yes. We have to say if I equals 1, then do this. Cool. So 30 might even be too much now. Let's do 20. And let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay. 10. How does that work? Okay, so now we're getting some stuff on the terrain. That's good. Maybe 5. So there's a 1 out of 5 chance, remember, that something generates on each block of terrain. That's not enough. This could even be 1 in 3 chance, to be honest. Maybe 1 in 2. Let's see. Because I do want that's very flat terrain. Don't know what's going on there. Let's do 1 and 2. There we go. It just looks a bit more natural when there's a bit more stuff generating. Okay, and we might call it a day there, guys. We've done some pretty good work. And I think we're actually pretty much done with the terrain. The last thing we really have to add is biomes. So we'll do that in the next episode, I reckon. And the way we're going to do that is very similar to how we did the caves and the ores. We're going to use some 2D Perlin Noise. And we're just going to mask off areas in the terrain. For example, this bit, could be a snow biome instead. And then we can even add some parameters so that certain things only generate in certain biomes, as was requested by this person here. Their name will be on screen now. I can't remember the name off the top of my head though, but you'll see them here. All good. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Also, join the Discord right now.